This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
There you go. And now recording.
We're recording. This is the Public Safety Building Committee. I'm Christina Madsen, sitting in as vice chair for Sarah. She's just going to be a little bit late, and as soon as she arrives, I'll hand it back to her. It is 4:36. So we'll start the meeting as usual. The agenda is the same as it was at our last meeting. And so we will open, we'll have open time for the public. Any input?
One member of the public here, I think, Jim Labrie.
I guess I am the public.
Correct. Welcome.
All I'm here tonight is to see if you can put me on your agenda for 2 weeks. Little Breeze would like to talk to the committee. Myself and my brother Eugene.
So for the next meeting, which is 2 weeks?
Yeah, is it 2 weeks?
It should be, yes.
It's usually every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And next week is a holiday, so it would be the following week.
What's the
Following
date on
Monday.
that?
First,
The
first
6th.
Monday in June.
The 6th? Okay.
The 6th of June, okay.
6/6. I just have a comment on that. I hope you know the charge is to just come up with lands and present to the select board. We actually were asked not to extend ourselves to any landowners.
I understand that. You are not explaining to us. We'll be talking to you about
Okay.
a possible.
But indeed, it would be to the select board that you would be,
Yeah, I didn't know where to start. Yeah.
I think it's the select board.
Would that be the one? Okay.
I believe it is.
Ed, could you answer?
We could do that.
Would it be the select board first or the committee for this?
Interesting conundrum, to be honest with you.
Exactly. I don't know which
Yeah.
way to go for. I asked a few people and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I said, well, I'll come here and we'll start talking.
Can we just do both? Have them come here and also simultaneously go for select board?
Well, it won't be quite simultaneously.
But.
When's the next select board meeting?
Well, you can forget it because that's the short one before the town meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be the stuff, so.
Yeah.
So, I would say leave your request the way it is, and we'll talk to the select board. And
Okay, run by them. If they want
Yeah.
to come to the meeting
Yeah.
and talk to us. And
who knows, maybe they'll even say something unique, like, maybe we'll have a joint meeting.
yeah,
Yeah.
you never know.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah. No, that sounds good. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say. I just wanted to get on the agenda somewhere.
We can take care of that one way or the other.
Perfect. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Jim.
it. Good seeing you, by the way.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right.
Oh, and Charlie Konecki sent his regards. Unfortunately, he had a 4 o'clock inspection he had to do, so he couldn't make it tonight.
Now, let's see, someone, was it you, Cindy, who was going to contact Barbara?
Yes, I did contact her and reminded her that tonight was the meeting and also, today was the meeting, and also urged her to come, and she had no real clear excuse as to why she hadn't made them. She just was busy. So I did invite her to be sure and come tonight. She should have gotten the minutes.
Okay,
This is
so,
Barbara Szymborski. She is on this committee representing finance, correct.
Sorry, am I?
Ah.
Should I have a mask?
No, we're just, unless, we're just doing this, that's okay.
What?
Do you have a mask?
I have a
With you?
mask in my car, I can grab one.
It's fine with me, it's, if maybe we move away, is there any, we'll just move a distance here.
Okay.
You don't have to run down. Is that okay, Christina?
Yes, fine. I'm just being
Anybody
cautious.
need copies of the minutes? Ed made them.
Hi there, Sarah.
Sorry I'm late.
No, that's okay.
We just started.
We just started, we are only up to reviewing the minutes, so.
Walking in and ran into Jim and Brady, so he let me know that he wanted to put on the agenda.
I know, so thank you.
Did you?
And we suggested that maybe he needed to see the select board first. Anyway, it's going to be done simultaneously.
No, my understanding is Ed's going to ask the select
Oh,
board.
that is true.
I'm
That
sorry,
is
that's what I was going
correct.
to put in the minutes. Ed is going to ask the select board how he
How
wants to
to
handle it.
proceed.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Is that your understanding, Ed? You're going to ask the select board about Jim's request to?
Yep.
Okay. And also, I reported that I did contact Barbara Simborski after the last meeting, and she somehow forgot to come, and I reminded her tonight, the meeting, and I sent her the minutes, so, but she's absent again.
Okay, hopefully everything's okay.
At the time, everything was fine.
Thank you.
And Charlie also had Ed just reported he had a late appointment related to his job. And anybody know about Chief Illingsworth? Is he,
Texted him, haven't heard back,
okay.
so I guess he's not going to be here.
Good.
Or if he'll show up,
Right.
make an entrance.
Yeah, when he may be busy.
Okay. So who else are we missing? I guess that's it.
I think
Rena
that's
wasn't
it.
gonna be here.
Yeah, Rini was going to be absent, right? Okay, so we're up to the minutes.
Did everyone get a chance to review the minutes?
So there's
So no.
two corrections. One is a typo that I missed, and that is on, where is it? Okay.
Can't be that bad if we can't.
Well, I can't find it. It starts with I, and it was just, kind of like those auto, but the other one is, I misunderstood about the building on the property where the current DPW is. That's actually there. It's Charter Communications building, and that it's been requested that it be removed. I misunderstood. I thought they were going to build there or something, so that has to be corrected also. And that's under, so that's under number 8A3, the 7-acre highway department location, and that's also where the typo is. The second sentence, CK opined that using the site for the public safety building would require highway department to be not related, but relocated. So that's the typo there. And also, Charter Communication may be building in that area. That's incorrect. They already have a building there. It needs to be removed. So those are the two corrections.
And that's a formal request now by the town to remove that Charter Communications structure?
Well, the original request was to remove all their equipment from the building.
And which building is that?
Way in the back. Yeah, it's a little small shed,
Okay. Back by the
Probably.
salt barn?
not much bigger than that table.
Oh,
Okay.
really? Oh, I thought it was, okay, I misunderstood. I drove back there to see
So
it,
that's coming out.
So it's a small shed, okay. Have a shed, which has been requested to be removed. So that's how I'll correct the minutes unless there's other corrections, I don't know.
Thank you. Anything else on the minutes or a motion to approve as modified?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes as modified?
Aye.
Thank you. I was just gonna open up, Ed, do you have an update on the senior center? I know, Rini had sent an email. Do you have me to open up what she'd said?
What's that?
Do you have an update on the senior center, or do you want me to open up what Rini had sent over?
You can open up what Rini be sent over.
Okay, we're good for quorum. Right, we need 8 of us for quorum, right?
1, 2, 3, 4,
Or do we need
5,
7?
6, 7. There's 11 on the committee? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
11
10.
sounds right.
11.
It's 11. So do we not just need a majority?
Just a majority for the quorum?
I guess I'd defer to Ed on that.
Right.
So we need
Just a majority,
6.
so 6, so we're good.
So we're good. 1, 2, 4, 7. Yeah.
All right, for an update for the senior center, the committee met on May 12th via Zoom. The focus of the parcels is very preliminary. No honors have been contacted. Both committees are on parallel paths with regard to site selection. They are considering existing buildings, including the site of the current senior center, the site of the current church, the site of the current police station, and the site of the former Harley Davidson. For land, they're looking into land along Route 20 or the Triangle of Clark east of Route 10 area. It does seem like there'll definitely need to be some coordination. This is just kind of me thinking out loud in terms of reaching out to, the last thing we want to do is have, I mean, I guess it'll all go through the select board in terms of reaching out to people, so that'll get handled there. But does anyone have any comments or anything we should talk about with regards to the senior center?
I think you said the 2 committees are, did you?
What Rainey had said here is, the focus of parcels is very preliminary. No owner will be contacted. Both committees are on parallel paths. So I think she's just saying that
We and they are on parallel paths of
Yes.
searching. Okay.
that's the way I understood it. Basically saying that just because these are listed here, the former site of the Harley Davidson, for example, they're not reaching out to the owners of the properties at this point. Anything else on?
I just have a question. Is their mandate is a little different than this committee's mandate in that they're not reporting back to the select board. They're reporting to the board of the senior center, I would assume.
Oh, that's a good question.
Or do you, that's not correct?
Board of the senior center would be an advisory board to the select board. So I would say they're reporting back to the select board also.
Oh, okay.
I would think if it had to do with land acquisition, or that it would have to go to the select board.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I think that's just good information. It seems like their needs are different than ours, so we likely wouldn't be centering in on the same properties, but regardless. All right, anything else on the senior center before we move on to properties?
They didn't have to say when the next meeting was, or she didn't say.
No, they have met on May 12th. No, I don't know if it's on my town government.
Okay, that's fine.
How much land are they looking for? Any idea?
I don't know.
I think she reported that last time, Chief.
That last time, it says that Ty and Bond was going to be contacted to do an overlay map to determine potential properties of minimum 2 acres.
Right, and then within a certain distance of the highway.
Correct. And the recommendation was the driveway would not come right onto the highway because seniors might need to
Yeah.
some seniors need to
Sure,
go
it doesn't
with
hurt to
it.
have a,
Yeah,
For negotiation.
yeah, exactly.
So Cindy, where did you get that 2 acres from? Because what I had written was more than 1.5 within a 1/4 mile.
That's what Rini said last time,
Okay.
and she did read these minutes really closely because she
That's fine.
emailed me her discovery of my typo, so I think she read them pretty closely.
okay. So the next thing on the agenda was the status of potential lots. I had added that list to the drive. It seems like everybody was able to take a look at that. There's still some information on there that needs to be filled in. I hadn't personally had a chance to do all that. I don't know if we want to tag team and do, I think we need to get all this information filled in this spreadsheet before we make a decision. I guess the first thing would be to talk about what columns we have here. Rini had added one additional for the zone. Cindy, did you already mention, you and Ed had talked a little bit about the zoning, that we don't think that'll be?
No, I didn't report that yet.
Do you want to mention that?
Yes, I will. One thing I have offered to do was determine, if you recall last time, was there a question of zoning, any kind of public hearing required or variance required if we were to go into a residential zone or any zone? And I ended up talking to Ed, and Ed said, actually, maybe you should report, and I won't have to rephrase your words when I asked you the question.
Municipalities are exempt from zoning laws.
So it doesn't really, other than if there was what we wanted to be near type consideration.
I mean, other than, shall we say, common sense.
Right,
You know,
that's a good way, yeah.
would I recommend that a fire station be placed right next to an assisted living facility? Probably not, just because of the potential noise
Sure.
and whatever, but.
Okay, that sounds good. So I think it doesn't hurt to have the zones on there, but I think that was good information. So I had these columns. Are there any other, well, I can read out what they are, and then we can talk about if there's any others we want to add as we're evaluating these properties. Address, common name, transfer station, town hall, map parcel ID, lot size, owner, length of road frontage, traffic pattern. That was more of a thing we'd have to evaluate and get some input on. Topography of note, that I was thinking particularly of this property here, but any others could have things that we would want to know. Deed restrictions, I'd put the GIS link for a couple of these that I'd found, other information, and then zone.
Did you say conservation status?
That's a good one. I don't have conservation status on here. So
I don't think we have any on the list that are on conservation.
I do think we do. I was going to look up in the property cards on one of the Goral properties. I think that
I
was
see.
on the list, and I think it's under,
APR maybe?
I want to double check that.
Got it.
If I could read the
Okay.
property cards.
So conservation status, any other columns we should be adding for,
I did a quick search, well, not very quick, but trying to find deed restrictions. So
Yeah.
I put in book and page registry
yep,
for it. I figured them out already, but I quickly have pulled up the deeds. But book and page helps
okay.
me reference the deeds.
So this is just for my own information. Map parcel ID and book and page are different?
Totally.
Yes,
Okay.
map and parcel are our assessor's records, book and page are the registry of deeds records.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'll add a column for book and page. And then Mark, if you have that information, if you wouldn't mind
Yeah, I'll fill it in online. I got all the numbers, but I'll fill it in
Okay.
online.
just so we have it all shared. Anything else as we're looking at these that we should be, these properties that we should be thinking about, evaluating? Anyone?
Well, I think, and I don't know whether even this is the moment to say it, but I think at some point, what has already taken place here on this site should be added to the column, because there are many preparatory things that have been done. So
Right.
would that go into other likely?
Yeah.
Topography and other?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's why I had added the information Charlie had sent, the PowerPoint and there was the 2012 committee report and there was the 2015 PowerPoint presentation, and I put those in here just because I think they're good information.
They
like you
are,
said.
yeah.
I don't know how to capture all of that, but definitely something we could
It
try
could
to
just go into other, I
Yeah.
suppose.
So just that there's been work done, you mean? Like-
Well, there are a number of things that have already taken place. The land has been purchased behind it for a septic system.
Maybe you could just do like site development costs, so either purchase price and
If
or,
known.
Oh, that's a good idea.
blasting or building removal. Just put that up, lump it under site development costs. If we know them.
Yeah, so site development costs, like order of magnitude, is kind
Yeah,
of where we're
order
at this
magnitude,
point.
Yeah, because there's a lot of work that's been done for this property back here, so what's left to do is probably what we're
Well,
interested in.
so maybe, Mark, you could answer this question. Since a feasibility study was already done, would a second feasibility study just be an update? Would there be a significant savings?
Sometimes the codes change drastically,
Uh-huh.
and other aspects of it, the construction costs have dramatically changed as well.
Well, sure.
Yeah, but as far as what we already have, are you talking more of a study perspective, or more of a physical perspective?
I put down, there was, the wetlands assessment has been done,
Mhm.
correct? So that wouldn't need to be redone or updated, perhaps?
Unless it was actually approved by the Conservation Commission, it expires after 2 years, so
But-
it has to be redone.
Okay, I'm just wondering, is it an update, though? I mean, are you would it be
I
begun
think
from scratch
From a
again?
feasibility study, I think we could utilize the old line. It doesn't technically change. From a technical, legal perspective, it wouldn't be valid, but from a feasibility study, it would still be valid.
Okay, all right, I'm just wondering about what costs have already been expended or paid for that might be beneficial to, to this site. So, and you can keep correcting me. So all the deeds have been cleared on this. That was one thing that was cleared up because that was a mess, right? So all that expense, although Charlie said it wasn't much expense, but that indeed the site the titles have been cleared, or the title
Yeah,
for
for
the
town
land.
hall and everything, the whole thing was a mess.
So I'm just, I just was trying to think of all the things that had already taken place on this site that
Yeah, we already have
You
a,
want
For
to just
fact-
do it, how
fact.
about like a pro and con?
yeah, that could be a pro and con. The pro would be that we have a valid perk test, we have a.
right, and the land for it, the town has bought the land already for that.
Yeah, so pros and cons, just general pros and cons for each one.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I think it's gotten more narrative. Each site's going to have different pros and cons.
Correct.
I don't think we ought to do every site evaluation whether or not it has a wetland delineation or not.
Right, so we have, just trying to think, so, I mean, in terms of pros and cons, if they fall into something like the topography, if it falls into the traffic, it would go in there, not just as a pro or con. We could have pros and cons to try and capture something that didn't fall into there, but I think in terms of work that's already been done, site development costs, order of magnitude, trying to think of the best way to capture what you're looking for, that there's already been effort expended on that
Right.
area.
And I think that this site is unique in that way, right? That this is the only site
It's almost
where
studied.
this one has had the degree of study.
Yeah, I think part of the biggest challenges for the site would be blasting, and I don't know how much that's been explored. There was some excavation done to identify ledge, but I don't think there was ever
Yeah, it was never distinct warrant. There's a couple of test pits right behind the building and found some shallow ledge. But that, soil exploration on all these sites hasn't been done extensively. We did the Title V perk tests way back on the new parcel because
And that worked,
So
that they
work
were
test has been
successful.
done. That's a positive.
that's
Right.
why we got the land. We were looking behind the police station to try to find a valid perk test, and there was nothing there. So that's
Right.
why they went further
Right.
to the west to find some valid perks. And that's something else we can do on a preliminary basis, even just using USGS, is do sort of a soil study without going into exact detail. Actually, I can pull those up very quickly. It's a general soil study from a USGS perspective.
And what would that be about, where ledge is located, or do they have that on there?
Yeah, well, they have some wetland generally location, but the type of soil is approximate depth to groundwater, approximate depth to ledge, pull soils report for each one of the sites.
It's a good guesstimate for
It's a
septic.
guesstimate for a start.
Yeah,
Whether or
okay.
not the soil would be likely suitable or not for a septic system.
But that's been determined, that out back, that
Yeah,
there is a
yes.
successful,
Yeah, the other sites would not necessarily have, there's a lot of difference between what I'm talking about, a general study, which I can do,
right,
versus a certified Title V inspection for
Right.
valid perk.
and that would have to be done on any site
Correct.
other than this one.
Correct, but a perk test, you know, it's a
It's,
couple,
yeah.
couple thousand
No, it's
dollars.
not even it's not a cost factor, it's just, again, I was trying to think of what had been already done here.
Mhm.
So it's certain, so other sites we wouldn't necessarily know yet whether,
Yeah, generally, you wouldn't even, if something didn't perk, you wouldn't take it.
Right.
correct, correct.
Usually a condition of acceptance is valid perk test.
Right, so there is a lot of investigation that still has to go on, even if location-wise and in many other aspects, it seems favorable. There's still tests that have to be done. So those are the things that I wrote down.
Okay, so do we,
And I think you gotta add in the cons as well. I mean,
Yes.
One
Oh,
cons, you have to have a temporary location for the fire department, demolition of the building, et cetera, which would not happen if you took another site.
Yes, and that's what they've done indeed in West Hampton.
Right, there's an additional cost to temporary locate and
That's a
then
good idea.
demo these
Conditional
buildings.
costs. Yeah.
And let's see, oh, I think it was maybe at one of our early meetings, there was a suggestion that perhaps, and I may be not remembering this correctly, can a building be built on ledge rather than blasting it out?
Oh,
I think
yes.
somebody suggested it was a good sound foundation to build
Yes,
on.
it is. It doesn't interfere with the proposed building footprint, I mean, elevations of the building. There's nothing wrong with building on ledge, it's actually very nice to do.
So ledge is not necessarily a
well,
detriment
you
to
need
this
a
site?
flat enough area for all the fire
Yeah.
trucks. I mean, you know what I mean, that's more what it's about, is getting one flat enough area, because you don't have to drive up a ramp.
No, of
I
course.
just, I think it's kind of here, it's building, I think that with my personal, just from looking at it, with the potential to demolish the existing fire station, this gets to be a lot more realistic, because what was, you were looking at before was building kind of into the hill,
Yep.
which is where it got to be more of an issue, building into ledge, because
Yeah.
to get it flat.
Okay,
Yeah, because even if they blast it, you just blast down to whatever your lowest elevation is.
got it, thank you, but that does answer my question, thank you, Mark, that it actually can be
Yeah,
built
even
on
if
ledge
flat
if
site.
it's grade, if it's at the grade.
Yeah, radon is the only thing that's, was increased probably.
But now my question is, if that's the case, if we're, able to demolish the current fire station and not go up the hill as far as the original proposal was, why do we need another perk test? And why do we?
I don't.
Perk test, yeah, we wouldn't need another perk test probably.
The perk test is way to the west, so there's not a reason that we could still use that valid perk test.
You need a pump up.
And what is the current sewage system? Is it part of the, and does that need to be replaced? That's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering.
With the new building, you would have to come up to code, and you'd be
Okay.
adding more people there,
I see.
bring the police department there, and that's just a system, you can't exceed the design of the original system.
I see.
So you
Okay.
have to design a new system to accommodate the total number of people there, and it has to be up to current code.
Yeah,
So we'd have to build a new system on a valid perk site.
yeah. What's
Gotcha.
existing is,
Not a good one, huh?
Yeah,
well,
no.
it's just, who knows, there's a vault that is getting pumped out actually in a few days. But discharge is probably overboard into a stream, would be my guess.
Well, that's not good.
No, it's not a big deal.
And then also, am I right that a fire department needs a special kind of wastewater management system for the washing of toxins off if you go to a fire and you have foam on your equipment?
Yeah, foam is a whole thing. They're actually doing recalls, the second recall. We have to clean all our foam tanks, everything's on green foam.
Okay.
There's grease traps. I would probably defer to whoever is in the building to know what the current code is in regards to it.
Okay.
Because it's not like we're doing a training area, and,
Okay.
and even in training, we're no longer using foam of any sort unless it's a life safety issue, only because of the environmental
Okay.
costs.
So those are all costs that have to be available.
Right, but even this is sort of true no matter where we go.
Okay.
You're gonna have to be in current code. Even with new fire stations, you have to have floor drains. Floor drains cannot go into a septic system.
Okay.
Period.
All right.
They have to go in an industrial waste holding tank, which has to be pumped out, so. But that's true of any site. So this septic system here,
Yes.
just simply, would not accommodate a new facility,
I see.
complex.
Okay.
So I guess my next question is, we have all these blanks. Some of them are numbers you gotta find. I don't really suggest we sit here and do that together, like the frontage, for example, book and page, things that are just facts. I think we should divide and conquer when we're not sitting here together. Things like, that are more of a traffic pattern, topography of note, site development cost. Do you guys want to run through some of these and try and fill this in? I think what we need to do is
Just put it down.
get all the information in here.
Yeah, I think so. Why not do it together?
Okay.
Suggesting like on traffic patterns, we put in there excellent, good, or poor. So then we can sort of figure it out.
Yeah.
No, there's no way to say, explain all the traffic implications and
Right.
movements, et cetera.
Yeah, I had
That
ideal,
probably just-
okay, challenging,
That pro
but
and
yeah.
con file columns could be huge. you
What
know.
was that?
The pro
Pro and
and
con.
con could just be, but that's what it's gonna come down to.
Right, but if anybody, can go in and put things in here, but I think if we could maybe just spend a little time getting some information, that would be good. So why don't we start with that traffic pattern? I think we could run through those relatively quickly.
I think those are the most important ones. I think when you label the most important one was traffic, the legal frontage.
Right.
If that cuts it out, then we're done. There's no sense doing the
Right.
nuances of the other aspects.
Right.
I agree. 8 Fulmer Road, the highway department for traffic pattern.
Do you have a study here? Do you have input on the traffic pattern?
No, I haven't really looked. I think we all know the sites.
So this is
Yeah.
coming out onto Fulmer and then turning on
Yeah, I
to,
mean, just shooting from the hip, and machine was here to, because it's honestly the two of us. It's not a bad location for pulling out trucks. It's really good sight lines as you come out onto Route 10, and it's a
Yeah.
small enough road where the highway department is.
okay, so ideal or okay? If we're gonna do 3 levels, like, good,
That's probably ideal.
okay.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I think
Probably
would be
add a
excellent.
traffic light there if we had to, if there was an alarm.
What's your
Yeah,
3
they'll just
categories
stop.
again?
I had said ideal, okay, and challenge, we can do
Well,
it.
that'd be true of almost all the
Okay,
sites.
and challenging?
And that
Yeah,
may
I
be
was just
something we
typing it
put
down.
into the-
Okay, ideal, okay, and challenge, they can
That,
be
that's,
different,
that comes
but,
at the final design, we do an analysis, we do site distance, we do gaps and analysis to figure out whether or not
Yeah,
you
because
a traffic
actually
light.
need a signal, so that's
Yeah.
unique for any site.
even pulling out here, when people are coming down the hill and up,
Right.
you gotta get a steam on it. I wait for them to stop before I pull them.
So
Yeah.
for some of these locations, a con could be, it would require a traffic signal.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
So do we want to, I can make a note of that potential traffic signal?
Wouldn't that be true of every?
I'll say, I think you need a
That's
detailed
general.
traffic analysis before we say, yes, you do, or no, you
Yeah,
don't.
that's
Okay.
seems
Even if we want one, we
ubiquitous.
still have to do a traffic warrant analysis. You can't just put a signal up because you want to.
Right,
You have to comply with a signal warrant analysis before you can do that.
So maybe just
Okay.
note traffic.
but yeah, so I think a traffic study would be done, I guess,
Yeah.
for any of these. The transfer station, in terms of the traffic pattern, I know
The
There's some
transfer
concerns.
station, for once, a little bit off the road, It's not a great corner that you're pulling out of from that area back of the landfill. And then the bridge makes you nervous. So that particular site is not my favorite.
That's that narrow bridge at the bottom of the hill?
Narrow bridge, and then do you know where the area is just prior to the dump on the right-hand side when you go up? It's kind of on a corner, it's not an ideal spot. I mean, maybe you could do stuff, clearing more to make it more visible, but that wouldn't be my first choice for a location.
But is that the area that Chief Illingsworth said had stumps buried in it?
That's what
It
came out the
probably
last
does,
meeting, yeah.
Yeah, I would almost try and write that one off the list, honestly, if it was.
And then it come down on Route 10, what's your feeling there?
I mean, there again, they're coming down the hill, that'd be an impossible place for a light, but there's pretty good sight lines.
Yeah.
So when you, oh, you mean turning out from Moose Brook onto Route 10?
Yeah. So, and there's another road that is not really developed that enters in the same spot, so the stop sign.
Brickyard extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, by
Brickyard
Sheldon's
extension.
there.
So the stop sign is prior to actually the sight line of the road. If that makes sense.
So traffic conditions would be,
I'll say a
maybe
challenge.
rate them 1, 2, and 3. 1
Yeah.
is excellent, 2 is modified, and 3 is poor,
I'd say.
rather than trying to get too detailed on each one.
Yeah, okay,
That's
so
it.
this one is going to be,
A 3.
A 3, and-
4, because it's poor coming out of that location. The bridge is poor, and then sight lines, although they're decent once you roll through the stop sign a little bit, it's not, if it was just that, it wouldn't be too bad. It'd probably be,
I think that's where the bike path might be eventually
yeah.
crossing
Yeah,
there
extension might
too,
be up
yeah,
there.
right there.
that's a good point too.
okay, so for traffic here, Town Hall, your current traffic situation, except maybe possibly improved if there was a loop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, what's perfect, It's a 1 or a 2. It's not ideal, but it's not.
So
terrible.
maybe a 2, is it the highway department you think's better?
Highway department's probably a little bit better because when you come out, you're on a less of a road.
Okay.
And then you've got good sight lines up and down the hill when you come on from Fulmer onto Route 10.
Okay, so we'll say 2 for that one. And then 34 Pomeroy Mountain Road, the Norris Fields.
Pomeroy Meadow.
Yeah,
Oh, Pomeroy Meadow, yeah, I don't know why I have Pomeroy Mountain in there.
Well, there is.
the North,
Yeah, I must have-
North School Fields, I think is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Norris Fields.
I thought we eliminated that last time.
It's on the list.
Yeah, it's on the
Should,
list.
okay, that might have been my mistake, so
Well-
I will go ahead and delete that.
I mean, are we comfortable?
I
felt
don't
like
think
it
we
was.
deleted anything.
um,
I think we sort of very end
We-
said, well, let's just give it another glance.
All
I
right.
think we did, yeah. And that's the wooded area behind, it's not the actual field, it's the land that's behind, the wooded area behind the school.
Yeah, I wasn't clear
fields.
how much land is, how far, where the property boundary is exactly, like with regards to where the trees start myself.
Yeah, I really want to see some site plan analysis on that, only because, going out onto Route 10 the back way, that's a horrible.
I think it goes without saying you wouldn't
Yeah.
try to get out
And
of
then-
that
And
intersection to
then
go to
past
Pomeroy
the
Meadow.
school, I mean, if it's buses coming through, that's not ideal either.
And there's apartments, now they're not assisted living, but they're,
Yeah,
I don't know if
you're
they're
behind.
age
And they're-
required
and I think
apartments
the
back
thought
there.
was that land cleared next to Cumberland, they might expand some of that, so.
All the parents queuing up there.
Yeah, that really narrows that
narrows the
road, yeah.
And you have almost one-way lane there twice a
I think
day.
it
Well,
was.
that's a
Chief
problem
Illingsworth
that
was-
needs to be solved in
Okay,
and of
opinion
itself.
it wasn't-
Visits our day.
There
And I
was-
know
That is a
Ian
nightmare.
Yeah.
can really speak to that, because I know that they put a lot of time and energy into that. So, I mean, honestly, just shoot from the hip again, but I would probably just keep on the 8 Fulmer and the 210 College Highway.
I'm remembering that Chief Illingsworth wasn't too happy with the Norris school site last time.
Yeah, so that one probably is gonna need to be removed.
Yeah, that's a
But
challenge
not
without
yet, I
us.
think.
So that, I think, or we continue on the traffic pattern, so that
Yep.
this is definitely 3.
Yep, that's right, good.
Yeah, I
So-
would say that.
I had just said
Yeah,
one
Pomeroy,
best,
That's a 4.
I said
But
one.
we only have
You're
3.
going up past-
Good, okay, not so good, and just.
I said 1 is best, 3 is worst. Do you want me to add a 4 is worst?
Oh,
I
no,
don't
I'm
think
just.
so.
It doesn't-
No, it doesn't.
Whatever the worst is for Palmer,
Yeah.
just because you're either going out to a
Three,
pad, 6 on 10, or
Okay.
through a schoolyard.
That sounds good. So 80, going on to the privately held properties for traffic pattern, 89 Clark Street.
That seems ideal.
I think you can see quite a ways both directions there.
Yeah.
And you can go out in either directly to East Street or to the highway. And
That's,
it's a
Good
quiet
positive.
road.
that's
Yeah,
currently
Clark
owned by
Street's
the
good
Ryan
positive.
Giller, yeah.
I give Clark Street a 1.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
Traffic.
That seems like really ideal spot.
Sounds good. And then,
And that goes for 89 or 79.
What was the number, 1 Park Street?
89 or 79 Clark Street.
so they both get a 1 for
And,
traffic.
and 79 is the Marvin Keystone site, correct?
The land next to that road,
Next to the, but owned by Marvin Keystone.
correct,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with a for sale sign up.
Yeah, it is for sale.
So 275 College Highway, that's it right there near 89 Clark Street, correct? Or is
Yeah,
the line?
2818.
I think we put it on the left-hand side.
What is that?
Convenience store?
275 College Highway is 23 acres owned by Ryan Gieler.
Oh, that's what exits onto Clark, right?
Oh, right in the corner is that one?
Just behind
Um,
Bruce Coombs.
Oh, in back of.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, this is Keystone,
Yeah,
Yep,
this is the parcel next to
so
it,
this is
Okay.
Clark,
and this is a Bruce County.
this is College
Okay,
Highway,
so where's
this is
the
Marvin
275?
Keystone, this is the first one we looked at. This is the one, 2018, that you just mentioned, which
okay.
is 275 College Highway.
So
The
this
thing
one-
is, I don't know where,
So 275 College Highway would just be
behind
accessed through 89 Clark Street.
it would have to be because,
Ed, isn't
I'm
the only
familiar with-
frontage though on Clark Street?
yeah.
Yeah, so
he has a
275,
driveway that he shares, I think, with Delicio.
I think it goes all the way to Moosebrook, but yeah, it could be the only frontage is on Clark.
If you could get that one to.
He happens to have
empty
that
out Clark,
address because he
good.
shares a driveway with someone else.
okay.
But yeah, that's a long ways to go.
Yeah, but
Right here.
but the other problem
And
with
it's
all
a
that
terrible,
land there
terrible
is
driveway.
there's environmental issues there because
Yeah,
of the fuel.
from the stop and save.
Okay, so I'll make that as a notable con, environmental concerns, just,
Yeah,
I've
and that's
heard that
all-
one a couple
I think
times.
Probably the 89 may suffer from some of that. The 79, I think, is clear.
Okay. So 275 is just access through the 89 Clark Street. I think those would kind of be looked at in combination. 17 East Street rear, Paul Champagne's property. That was 2439.
Yeah,
Well, this is-
24.
This is it, here.
Oh, that little large.
Yeah, see,
That
that's-
house just sold.
21 sold, 27 is up for sale.
Which parcel is that? That's from here?
Yeah.
2439.
39 is what we're looking
So what's access
This is it
to
right
that?
here.
Well, this actually has two
So
accesses.
this
on
is
Clark.
the,
This
No,
is the
no,
No,
one.
yeah,
on
on
the
the
east,
east, on the
Oh,
east
right.
street.
East Street.
And
Yeah,
is
these are-
this his house here?
and have you,
There's a-
have you driven there?
Yeah, I
Two
know.
houses.
And
I think, yeah, I
this,
think there's.
But I think his only
Right.
access is right here.
let me make sure we're looking at the same
Oh,
thing.
right. So unless that, I mean, this must be.
Oh, yeah, that's just it. So this is the parcel we're talking about.
Right. So no, really no frontage.
Good frontage here.
I mean, if
But I
that-
mean, I'm sorry, what road is that?
This
is like- this is
like,
So this, yeah, this is East Street.
yeah.
That's Clark
What is the
Street.
name of this little teeny
Uh,
road? Is it Elm?
Is that
Yes.
Elm?
Elm?
Yes,
Okay.
Elm.
It kind of goes in here and around.
Correct.
Oh,
And it's
well,
not really
Elm-
a, I mean, it's a town road, but
It's
the
not
only people that
developed.
drive back there is
Yeah.
people who live back there.
Yeah.
But Elm
Yeah.
is, I mean, that looks like a good
Yeah,
site.
it'd be good for us, for the neighbors.
So you probably have access out here on the street.
Yeah, you could go, I mean, potentially, I mean, if that, you'd have to rebuild this road, but you could go either way.
And then, and this is the library, correct? Right there?
No, that's Keystone.
No,
Oh,
that's
that's,
Keystone.
okay, so library is, oh, this is Concord
Yeah, you have
right
to
here,
go-
here's the library,
Yeah.
okay. All right, and these are all privately owned.
Yeah, we already
houses.
researched back here, this is all wetlands, because
Yeah.
that was a consideration at one point.
Oh, this little spot here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is wet.
Is this the building?
We're looking at that one right there. Right,
yeah.
John?
Yeah.
What is, this
Is this
is,
the real one?
I bet that is-
yeah, I think this is,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So Mannion Meadow Sanctuary is like right here,
Yep,
and this is gonna be the bike path.
Yes.
Right.
that's,
Nice.
yeah, for fire department
Why
EMS
is it-
response, it
why is
actually
it
be nice to be
expensive?
at the bike path.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
good.
because there's a lot of accidents that happen on the bike path.
Okay, okay.
That looks
So you're
traffic
comfortable
wise.
sticking to access, this is definitely a good spot.
Yeah, you'd have to, there's gonna be development for those roads, they have to
Right,
be
well,
upgraded
that's
because they're not
aspect
nice
of it,
roads.
Right, well,
But from, when we're all done, the access will be good.
Access
For
would
the
be good.
safety and being, get in and out.
Yeah, I think the only thing you'd have to explore a little bit is, remember, sir, or something? Why is it-
Oh, yes, well,
I think
in
there's
the
a
lawn,
pond
that's
further.
true.
I actually have that on enough.
It's on the other, it's not on Paul's
I thought it was
property.
here.
There's a stream that follows the track.
I
I
thought
don't
the
know if
pond-
it goes this
I
far.
thought the pond.
I just see a stream here.
This is the,
This is a
let's see.
wetland.
This is the one, the big parcel, they just sold that.
Oh, this is East Street coming off the highway,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Okay, the pond is right
We're
here.
here.
Oh, it's
Right
there?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Yeah, there is a little pond, I can't remember which side of the road it's on.
Yep. It's behind this house.
Okay,
now. Yeah, I think there's a little depression here.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there
always,
is.
it's always wet.
This upgraded tiny bond map shows some wetlands on it.
Oh, there you go. What's that?
This one, so this is Elm.
This is the Gila parcel we're talking about here.
Yeah, shade.
Gila, no, Champagne.
I mean,
So you're saying the pond is here, right? Because you're
That's
saying,
the depression.
it's one's already.
Gila is way over here.
Okay.
So what is this hatching?
that means there's a common property owner. The Z, I mean, the Z or Hatchie?
There's hatching.
I
It
think that means
means
it's industrial.
floodplain, it says floodplain overlay district, according to Ty and Bond.
Oh, great.
Wow.
That's what it is.
Floodplain?
Yeah, floodplain overlay.
So that would eliminate it.
Is it flood, is it like
That's what it means right here.
DEP flood? Not a 100-year flood elevation, is it?
No, boy.
I don't
What are
know.
we?
That'd be a good question to at least
Yeah,
note,
look into
because if
that.
it's an issue,
I'm going to look
Well,
at
it needs research.
that's not where we want to have our
Right.
emergency operations center if we're
Yeah,
in potential
and what's
flood.
not on this map, and we have other maps, is where is the, the Barnes Aquifer.
Oh,
That
yeah.
should be a consideration. I think
Yeah.
that should be on there too, is,
Okay,
um,
you can add a column for that.
Yeah, because that's gonna come into
Yeah.
play, especially if you had a well-dependent site, if you have town water during good, because Barnes has some.
I think all these
problems with
sites that
water.
we're looking at have access to municipal.
Town water, good,
Yeah.
perfect, yeah.
okay.
And that should be that.
And that's another analysis we need to do is floodplain and
Exactly, yeah.
conservation restrictions. And look, all these were endangered species, none of these parcels had endangered species on it.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
The frog, well, I know Mannion Meadow Sanctuary does have frogs or turtles or something,
Huh.
but that's down the gorge
Turtles.
there.
Yeah, I think.
Is it turtles?
Yeah, again, we'll get into that, but I think the Keystone also is endangered species.
Ah.
Oh, really? I wonder if that affects the Giller property.
One topic at a time, we're gonna go crazy.
Yeah,
Endangered species, I think,
I agree. Okay, so 17 East Street, we're gonna say is a 1 for best traffic pattern.
Yep.
Okay, 79 Clark, I'd also put as a 1 along with 89 Clark.
What was the address in East Street you just said?
17.
17 East Street. That's the Paul Champagne's property.
yeah. That's one we were just looking at
No,
right
it's
there.
not.
Yeah,
It's not?
21 is right there where Elm Street starts. And there's two houses between there.
Well, it's listed on the assessor's map as number 17 for Paul Champagne's
yeah,
property.
you don't seem to have an Elm Street.
He's got,
There's an error there?
he's on Elm Street, he's not on East Street. Paul Champagne is on Elm Street.
He lives on Elm Street, but his property is East Street. He
His-
resides on 11 Elm Street. This is his lot, that's 8.5 acres, and it's listed as 17 East Street rear.
It's a vacant lot.
It's not his house we're looking at.
Now, this is Paul Champagne Senior, who lives on Elm Street. Paul
Yeah.
Champagne Junior lives on East Street.
Well, this map that came from the, not map, but this Excel sheet from the assessor's office, we're looking at map 24, lot 39, which is owned by Paul L. Champagne. I don't know if that's junior or senior. He resides at 11 Elm, but this is 17 East Street rear. That's the location, and it's 8.5 acres, and I think that's what we were just looking at there. Does that make sense to you, Don? Not really?
I'm still confused. I walk through there 5 times a week, and I have for years. You got Paul Champagne Senior at the end of Elm Street. He's got all that pasture land, he's got cows grazing out there and all that sort of thing. If you cross over the railroad tracks, or where the railroad tracks used to be, there's a big brick historic house.
Yeah.
That's Paul Champagne Jr.
Has
Right.
a unique,
And he's on East Street.
unique quitclaim deed there that reserves that Paul Champagne is a life estate above the said premise, and during the remainder of his life, he shall have exclusive right to occupy the premise.
And that's the elder?
That's the elder. That just, so that means that it's been transferred to one of his sons already, and he has life estate there.
So,
Gotta look
Focusing
at
on-
me, we
on-
need to
on,
research on that. We're just looking at traffic.
Right, okay, so, so regardless of who exactly owns that lot, I think that the lot we're talking about
Yes.
is a one.
Yes.
So, 0 Fulmer Road, that's 2831, 22 acres.
0.
Yeah, and I couldn't find it.
which parcel?
It's 2831, map parcel ID, 0 Fulmer Road.
This is map
Do we need to
28.
turn
Yeah,
on
it's just
that?
a very nice, large parcel on Fulmer Road.
Right, does it have road access?
They have road access,
Okay.
they have 2 large
Oh,
accesses
right,
on
we
the
looked-
road. There's a house sitting in the middle.
In the middle of
It's
it.
right here.
Oh, is that the old Phillips place? Is
Yes,
that-
yes.
Okay,
And-
but why is that called 0?
I think just because there's
It's
never been a
because it doesn't have
residence
a house
on it.
lot on it, so it's not
It's just, it
numbered.
was never
Got
numbered
it.
by the planning board or somebody.
Until you have a house there, you don't get a signed number, because fire department has to know where to go.
That is true.
So, that one, road access, traffic pattern thoughts?
So it looks really good. Do you know what this is?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
I mean, it's a nice parcel there.
So here's Brittany Lane,
Yep,
and here's.
this
This
is whole
is
parcel.
it. Exactly, so it looks like very good. It is.
Yep,
There's a pond and a wetland area here, which you have to be aware of. But other than that, it seems like it has two large frontages.
Yes,
Yeah.
currently owned by this person, Matthew Murphy, who lives in Westfield. Oh, you got it right there.
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I'd give that a 1 for traffic.
And the acreage on that is
22. Okay. And then we had 0 College Highway, Eugene LeBree's property
Yep.
for traffic.
That's, if it's at the top of the property, if we've actually watched that one before, if it's at the top of the property across from like Cumberland's, your sight lines are pretty good. If it's at the lower end of the property, towards Gun Road, it's a 3. So it's either a 1 or a 3, depending on where the road is.
Okay.
Follow your
Um,
parcel
Yeah,
there.
so right here, because this is a terrible hill
Oh, I
right here.
see.
Right, 'cause it's
So
48
if your access comes out here, it's a 1, because you got good sight lines.
So if your southwest is good, if it's northeast is bad.
It's bad, yeah, so.
Is the
so either way.
This one,
Yeah, you get right
It's
on
all
the curve on
along
the northeast.
141. This is Labrie.
Okay, so just because we're Actually, I guess let's finish this out, and then I have another question. So I'm gonna just note potentially 1 or 3, depending on the location within the parcel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then the Goral family land, Moose Brook and College Highway, the corner there, it seems like there might be some concerns.
That's the same concern that you're gonna have with the transfer station.
But you don't have to cross the bridge, so.
You don't have to cross the bridge, no.
So maybe a 2, is that?
Yeah, two's
It's also
probably
going
good.
to cross the new bike path when it's put in there.
Okay. Oh, right, where the pine shelf is where that
But it's
runs.
Decent sight lines.
Okay, so a 2, is that?
Yeah, two's probably good.
Okay. All right, so we still have some time. Do you guys want to run through topography and deed restrictions? Does that make sense?
Yep, let's get as much done as we
I'm going to
can.
have to use that for the minutes, what you're doing.
Oh, that's fine. So this is all in the shared
Yeah.
thing. So
Neighbor's going to have to help me.
just going, what?
So I said some neighbor is going to have to help me with that. Anybody you know?
I think that's me. Highway Department topography. That's over.
So I went
It's
back
flat,
there,
right?
you guys know pretty well.
I haven't walked the very back of it.
Well,
I mean, it looks
I drove in, and here's my question, which wasn't clear to me. I drove in and I went, to right in.
Between the fuel tanks and the building. up to
Yeah,
the back salt
and there's
shed.
a steep ledge, ledge is not the right word, it's just trees that go up to the
Rise.
side.
Yep.
I didn't know, I mean, it's sort of like narrow right there. I didn't know if that was property that is owned by the town and just was never removed, because it seems to me you'd have to take that down to widen
Yeah.
the area.
Ideally, you would widen it. There are tanks that are just to the right as you make entry, so you'd almost have to keep that same.
Somebody has to really look at that
same
whole site.
traffic pattern. I don't know how much of the hill lies there is town, so I don't know how much
Yeah.
like site development. You'd have to move the salt shed.
And is it reasonable to move the salt shed? There's a very big salt shed back there.
Yeah,
Well,
and
it's a circular foundation, it's a major thing, but
It's
I-
movable.
I would, yeah, we'll stick with this, but I have a general comment about that.
Yeah, and you'd have to find a place for the highway department probably, unless you were gonna really shift it and try and do both. I don't know if there's, I don't know the topography well enough to know if both would fit.
Well, there's
Just
certainly
looking at that.
acreage,
There's plenty of acreage
flat
there.
acreage, and it's really just a graveyard now for all kinds of vehicles and
Is this Fulmer down
yeah.
refuse
So
piles
this is
and
the
so
here?
forth. I think,
Skinny
I mean,
thing
it
that
seems
I'm
like a
looking
lot
at.
of
This is
valuable
quite
real
steep.
estate.
These
Maybe
trees
not for this,
straight
but
up.
certainly there's
Okay.
acreage
Yeah,
there.
But she's right, this, and when you say graveyard, is that what the old cemetery is?
No, I mean,
I think
it's a
we-
graveyard for
Yeah.
equipment,
Yeah.
there are
It
old
is.
cruisers,
Yeah.
equipment,
Yeah.
it's just a mess.
It is,
Have to be
it's a
cleaned up.
total mess,
it's where
yes.
old vehicles go to die.
And
It's
they
a bad
shouldn't be. I mean,
situation.
why is it
Right.
there? You know,
Scrap
it's
'em.
it's really
Yeah.
unfortunate to
Yeah,
know that's
it's
a
a mess.
municipal site. You should, we can drive by there sometime if you want, but we can just get back to here, and I think the salt barn, which is circular, is right about there.
See, what's that? Is that the salt barn?
You know, I don't think it's that far back. I didn't get back 8 acres. I mean, I didn't go,
Would
even go around the salt
contamination,
barn.
that kind of contamination
salt
actually
barn
factor
around there.
into
He
a police?
he was thinking there was more
And then
cars
there's this
in
little
it.
shed that's
It
owned by
would if you
Charter
had like a
Communications. There's
junkyard
another
where you
building there
had,
too now.
you know, 1,000 cars.
Is this a
Right.
Google
For
one?
the 10
Yeah,
or
this
12
is
cars
old,
that's
it's when
back
they've
there.
done the
that probably
report,
would be some
Oh,
consideration.
2012. Okay, so it's flat, right, largely?
Yes.
In terms of topography.
Yep.
So the concern is more existing buildings. It's a very simple, simplified way to say what we're kind of,
Yeah, because where the upgrade costs, is the incidentals, because you're gonna have to move the salt shed, you're gonna have to clear up a bunch of land and improve the way in and out.
Do you know what that wooden shed is? It's kind of like an old barn structure that's in the middle.
Is that the Charter Communications
No.
shed?
Oh, no,
uh-uh.
you're right, there's like a barn in the middle.
Yeah.
Right, my guess is just storage. I've never been in it, but my
Very
guess
cool.
is it would be like a storage shed form.
Right. And not in very good condition.
Yeah, no, I don't know even what condition it's in. You
Uh,
must still use it.
Yeah, yeah.
so I'm gonna just note a couple conditional costs, relocation, highway department, cleanup of old equipment, and old buildings.
And by not
You have to
necessarily
create-
possible
You have to
relocation.
create a
It's
new
not clear,
highway
it has to be
department, make it a parcel for that, and
Right.
locate a new highway department.
Do you
So
not-
that's a huge cost.
Well, do you not think that they could be there simultaneously, or on 7 acres?
You'd have to do a site analysis.
Yeah, it's pretty narrow.
That's what but
It's worth, I guess it's worth a look.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure. That's why I was asking about earlier, before the meeting started, about you being a civil engineer.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, I haven't really, have not examined them.
I would like to know what someone who's familiar with siting of things, what they can imagine for that place, because acreage-wise.
Now and then, without hiring somebody, I'll just
Yeah,
pull up some, things and throw some templates on it, and see what happens.
yeah, no, that's a good idea. So I'm just gonna say relocate or adjust the highway department. I mean, something would have to be.
Yeah, possible relocation,
Yeah.
unless,
Well, just in general, just to follow up on looking at the site and would it work? I mean, that's true of all these sites. I mean, you can drop a complex, I've got, what we did last time, and just sort of drop them on there and just say, yeah, this looks like it fits pretty well. We'll do that with all the parcels once we
Yeah,
retain them as we go through this process.
right, no, I agree.
If we still think they're viable, then we can just drop a
Yeah, you can make a
blob
little
on
pad
there that
block,
says,
whatever.
this is about what I need, this is about what I need for circulation, and will it fit?
yep.
So, again,
So,
I was away all last week, but I'm around this next 2 weeks, so be able to play with them a little bit.
Okay, great.
that's good. So, just circling back to topography, Moose Brook, the transfer station, that's large. I don't know exactly when you leave the actual transfer station going back. That's a bit of a hill, right?
Yeah, that's also the capped landfill behind the transfer.
So I guess we would need to talk about where within these 18 acres for that one we were
It's a large parcel that we're
looking at.
Yeah, it's a large parcel, but you really have to look at, I don't know, wetland topography. I know that, that hill access, if the only access is just prior to the landfill, that's not a good access location.
well, I mean, this is the landfill, and this is the transfer station,
Yeah.
and this is the parcel.
Yeah, so it's just, so access, I want to say it's probably right here.
Yeah, this is what we have it there and then there's.
Yeah, because it's almost very across from somebody's driveway right here on this one, because I know, it's here.
So,
It's right in these curves, which is not ideal.
I mean, this is the parcel for
The transfer station itself.
this is the family.
There's a driveway, and I just don't see a driveway or a house on there, so my guess is it's gotta be somewhere right around here.
Again, this is the parcel.
That's the parcel that they're talking about?
Yeah, this is the transfer station.
Oh.
This is the extra parcel for the transfer station.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
So, again, this is the family here. This is the parcel we're talking about. This is where you got the existing transfer station sits right here.
What do you mean this isn't that the golf club? Golf course? No, isn't this a golf course right
Golf course is further
there? Way down there,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, this is the big farm.
I see.
This is where all the horses and the baby cows are. This is the cornfields. Am I correct?
This is the transfer station, so you're going,
So this is the.
so it's prior to the
This-
transfer station.
Right, and there's a gravel pit up in here.
Yep.
That's where DPW stores their gravel. This is all heavily wooded. So this is the actual transfer station. This is the capped landfill is right here.
And is this land part of the?
No, that's, I think it's somebody else's. I don't know whose that parcel is.
Because I wondered about going in, where do you go in to put the lawn refuse and so forth?
Well, there's a driveway here, and an exit driveway here, so you drive in.
Right, so that's that, okay. I thought there was more land here, okay.
Yeah, it is
And
to see.
this is the parcel we were talking about, town owned.
Right.
DPW does some gravel storage back
So
there.
this must, somewhere in here must be the area, I would think it would be close to the capped area where Chief Illingsworth said that a lot of stumps are buried. It wouldn't be over the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't,
I'm not familiar with the site.
Yeah, you didn't put something because it's hilly area there too.
I thought that was all from that hill.
Yeah, because, you come up into this area here. I don't know what it's, I haven't kind of looked at it, the property.
The topography, I think, it's a,
I don't know. I mean,
I don't
We'd have
know
to
enough
look
to
at
comment
it.
to say it's good or bad.
What's
Okay.
that?
I don't know enough to say about whether it's good or bad, so.
Yeah, I don't either, but it's something
Rather
we
than
should
false
go
confidence.
see.
Wait, what category are you doing, topography?
Topography,
I was just-
Topography, I would say hilly, that's,
yeah.
Okay.
And that's not the end of the world
Yeah,
from a site development.
right.
Okay, town hall and the fire station, obviously we know that if we go towards the back, it gets steep, but the front where the current fire station is relatively flat.
yeah.
And there's ledge,
Right, but if we could move it forward,
right.
we don't know if it'd be lots of a
But that
concern.
is part of topography.
Ledge toward the back, well, ledge in half.
You deal with that ledge in some aspect. You could
Yeah.
build on top of that ledge and then come down and put like apparatus bay in front.
Yep,
In terms of flatness or topography, as we're talking about it now, the current fire station is in a building or part of a building that was there for 150 years. It just happened to be put back. Would you consider bringing a new fire station forward by 20, 30 feet? Does it have to be as far back? Seriously, I'm sorry, that wasn't a rhetorical question, but, so no, in terms of flatness, that's all I'm saying, because you got a big parking lot
That
right
is
there.
a good question.
Yeah,
Could you,
I think that one of the challenges that we had in the past was leaving that
right.
building there.
Well, it's gone, so that
So if
tells
that
you
building
that,
was
yeah.
gone, are there other opportunities there? I would think that there
Yeah.
would be. I know that there are some challenges in the front area only because there's a hidden stream underneath. And you'd also have to figure out traffic patterns for town hall traffic. But
Well,
there's
it's-
potential to move it forward.
Yeah, so you have more flatness, you know?
I like flatness.
That's my engineering term, flatness.
Well, for the flatness, I mean, the ideal station would be, you could drive in and out.
Yeah,
It's a
okay,
little bit tougher with a,
so there'd be
large
some,
engine to back it in.
okay.
Mark, do you know where, behind the station, there's a slope before it really rises. Do you know where in there the ledge?
Yep, if you actually, like that parking lot that we put next to the sleeping quarters,
Yeah.
that hill right there is rock.
Okay, so it's immediately behind, that rise
Right,
on,
correct.
that is ledge.
They probably eliminated, chopped some ledge out when they did the original construction.
yeah,
And they have. I know that
Oh.
with the parking
Oh,
lot there, I
okay.
just went till they hit rock. And that's why I know there's ledge there.
Got it, thank you.
okay. So I said steep with ledge, flatten the flatter area in the front.
Okay.
So I was just looking at this report that was done back in 2012, and they did, put together priorities of these three. Do you guys want me to read that real quick, just since they did what we did? So the conclusion of this report was the town hall, the landfill, and the highway garage, which is kind of where we're headed to, are the three recommendations, with number 1 being the town hall fire station parcel. Number 2, the landfill as a standalone public safety complex. And number 3, the highway garage parcel requiring construction of a new highway complex. And then they'd said because of these assets, it wasn't recommended to search private for privately owned land at that time. And of course, that's where, it obviously went to, the study happened, it went to town meeting, and we all know where we are 10 years later. I think we should keep doing what we're doing, but it does just, to me, feel like we're starting to end up going down the same path that went down. And I just don't want to spend too much of our time if we all kind of see where we're headed. I mean, obviously, we have to do our due diligence to be able to justify any decisions or recommendations. But as I was just flipping through that, looking at some of these drawings as we're doing this. But do you guys, we should probably just quickly run through the topography, though, of these private properties since we have them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. 89 Clark Street, that's kind of sloped there by,
It is sloped.
right, and
Not
Not
buildable, but
severely, and I mean, sort of, but
Where is 89 Clark Street?
behind Heritage Cervix.
Between Heritage and Keystone.
It's an open meadow there,
Yeah.
I know you walked there too.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think it's sloped?
Yeah.
Is it, but is it steep?
No, it's not
No.
There's
steep.
nothing wrong with a slope, actually helps with drainage.
Yeah.
Flat sites aren't drained.
Yeah. So I'd say it's sloped and buildable.
Yeah.
Buildable, moderate, slight slope, open meadow. Okay.
I know it's wet. It's wet there. I don't know if it's wetlands.
I don't know, we're just doing topography, right? I don't know.
We're doing topography.
And then 275 College Highway, which I have on here, is kind of accessed through 89 Clark Street, so that would really just be an extension of the same.
Yeah, yeah.
17 East Street rear, let's go back to,
It's pretty good, pretty flat.
That's the Champagne one. That's flat?
I think so.
I think so too.
I mean, I don't know it intimately, but
yeah,
it should from the hip, it's flat.
It follows a railroad, so it can be to you.
Yeah.
79 Clark Street, Marvin, Keystone.
Slight hill, but not quite as much as 89, but
Well, you know they have a large flat building on it.
Right,
yeah.
that's true.
The number is, that in Clark Street, where the building, you're talking about Marvin Keystone building?
Yeah.
That would be a single digit number, right? 1 or 5 or something like that. It wouldn't be 89 or 79.
Yeah, you'd think it would be a low number, wouldn't it?
Is this a different property they own than right where their building is? This is
No.
7.
Yeah, it's next to their
It's
building.
adjacent.
Okay, not
But
sure.
if Gielaher is
89.
89, yeah, it must just be a numbering.
It would be
Well, Clark Street goes
It would
across
be
the road too,
closer
up to
to-
High.
but it would
No,
still
it's
be
all on the
on
other side. It's not across Route 10.
on that lower section.
It's not, what is the
Oh,
road
yeah.
that goes up for, by John Martin's house?
That's still Clark Street, but I don't believe that's the area we're talking about.
No, it's not, I'm just talking about numbering.
Yeah, so they're
Oh,
saying,
okay.
so this is.
I could probably tell you the number of John's former house.
And Keystone owns that.
Yeah,
Keystone owns that.
I'm surprised that, so the numbering.
Yeah, the numbering is just peculiar there.
Yeah.
Is there a number?
Okay.
I don't think the topography that I've seen so far is
So bad.
Is a
going
concern.
to be a major factor in any of these sites so far.
Yeah,
That it's a huge.
it seems like,
If it's hilly, you do some excavation, if it's flat, you
Yeah.
know, you do a
Moose
little
Brook might be,
excavation.
there's a decent hill there.
okay, so Lewisburg and College Highway, I'll say there's a hill, but Fulmer Road and College Highway, Matthew Murphy and Eugene Labrie, those are both relatively flat.
Yeah, I know the breeze is completely flat.
That's over the Barnes Aquifer.
Okay,
Does that go
it
into
is.
topography?
I added another column, but,
Okay.
We'll
I
have
think
to run
we can
through
use,
that.
site geology, basically. Is it draining, is it bad soils?
right,
But what's in, so this is, from the Housing Authority, we heard that the College Highway parcel is Zone 2 Aquifer Protection Grid. I don't know what that means, but it caused the developers of the residential to back out.
It impacts septic system design, you have to be more careful with it. You can't do permeable pavement in that zone 2, there's certain restrictions, but there's a lot of development in zone 2s. So zone 1's entirely crazy, but zone 2, you can develop it with criteria.
I think it was a cost issue too. It's not that they couldn't develop there, it was just gonna be
So, but being a fire station with contaminants, that would be a factor over the aquifer, or?
true, yeah.
Yeah, there's not.
What contaminants?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
fire
that's
department
the-
doesn't make contaminants.
Well, you've spoken about washing your,
So you'd have to have drainage in the station that would be up to, you know, they have special drains that separate out grease and
okay.
would have to.
I'm just
perform all those.
going based on what you've said, so maybe I've misinterpreted your
Yeah,
statements.
yeah, I mean, there are things that would be addressed in any building, as Mark had said earlier. It would have to be, no matter where you put that fire station, you're gonna have to address the drains, floor drains in the building.
Right, there'll be two water what you'll have your municipal waste will go to a septic, and then your drain water would go to another water treatment industrial system. And then depending how that, I don't know how that's discharged, I don't actually know the details of that, but it would be treated differently than just.
On each of these sites, you
Yeah.
would have two
You'd have
facilities.
two, one where, your sinks and your showers where you wash your hands like in any other, bathroom would go to a septic system, correct? And then anything where, floor drains where you're washing down equipment would be drained somewhere else and treated
Got it.
differently.
It would be captured and hauled away.
Okay, that's probably
Right.
it.
We don't have a municipal sewer, so that's the only option.
Got it.
But that's usually very small quantities, it's not unusual to do. In residential area in the zone 2, there's a maximum septic loading that you can do when you're zone 2, which is highly restricted. So that's probably why the residential backed out, because you have a maximum sewage loading per acre in a zone 2, which is
Okay.
difficult to comply with. The public safety complex wouldn't have the issue because they have a very low
Right,
septic loading
right.
for the
Right.
site.
But there isn't a factor, a concern for the leak, for the storage tank for the contaminated discharge?
No.
No, it'll be a double wall tank and.
There's no
Got it.
contaminated discharge.
Yeah.
But if we're still talking topography, it's a good site.
Yes,
I'm gonna get a little upset if you keep saying contaminant,
Yeah.
Okay.
because there is none.
it's just floor drains.
Thank you. If there's-
Well, I'm sorry, you have talked about the hazardous material coming off your equipment, and
No,
so.
I didn't, so if I need to rephrase that, then let me rephrase it.
Okay, so I just
there
need to
are-
learn.
Yeah, I mean, there are some, Barnes had a problem with foam. They no longer use foam. We no longer use foam
Okay.
unless in a life safety situation, and only in an environment there would be like a fire at someone's house. For the equipment in the station, there's no contaminants that are discharged by the fire department.
Okay, so I stand corrected, it was a misinterpretation.
Okay.
Okay, so what we've done is we've added some information on traffic pattern topography. I think if we can add some information, Mark, I think you're gonna do some of that, and then I can go through some of the length of road frontage, some of the information that's available as well. But I think we wanna fill in this spreadsheet to try and get closer to making a decision. I just wanted to get everyone's opinion on, I think, as we've gone through where we are now, we could reasonably cut this list down. Do we want to do that, or do we want to keep all of them here for further evaluation? Just that, like I talked about, it seems like we're narrowing in on, for the town-owned, this property here to be the #1 recommendation.
That's it,
So-
we knock the cream off the top without getting too involved, that's it, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I think access is probably the #1 issue. I mean, building site conditions, it may change the construction costs to a certain degree. The building, et cetera, is going to be a major cost.
So if we have these that are #3, Moose Brook Road, the transfer station, 34 Pomeroy Meadow Road, Norris School, they're the worst traffic pattern option. Should they be eliminated based on that?
I mean, is that the brick wall? It doesn't make sense to put a fire station and a police station that has poor access. I mean, I think that's sort of a simplistic, realistic elimination process.
Yeah, if you were doing like, they did 1, 2, 3 last time, where they did town hall, transfer, and then highway, I would probably do town hall, highway, and if you're gonna keep transfer, then transfer would be number 3.
Okay.
I just think, I guess I was more going on, is it an acceptable location or not? I wasn't gonna rank 1, 2,
Oh, okay.
3 as the best or a little bit less, but if they're all acceptable, yes. If it's unacceptable, let's get rid of it.
It seems like we wouldn't, as a group, be happy with Moose Brook Road, the transfer station, or the Norris School Fields at this point, in terms of acceptable versus not acceptable. Is that a fair assessment of everyone?
I lean on you for the time.
I think so, I wish Ian was here to chime in on that, I think it's important to really get everybody's opinion in.
Yeah,
for all
we can
parts
wait,
of-
hold off to make that decision.
But, yeah, I mean, I think that he would agree that the transfer station, he mentioned the bridge,
Right,
you know, that is a good.
I think they're definitely not as ideal.
Yep,
right.
yeah. So if we were just, I think it would be easy to say town hall and highway department.
Or
Okay.
acceptable town-owned parking parcels.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay. All right, so we're getting close to 6 o'clock. So we're going, for next time, we're gonna fill in more of this spreadsheet that we have. And then, can we recap where we left it with Mr. Labrie? I missed that. Is he coming next time?
He came now and wanted to be on the agenda for.
Right, he caught me downstairs, so I kind of,
He wants to be on the agenda for next meeting, and that's gonna research whether we could maybe do a joint meeting with Selectmen that he could attend.
okay,
Or if it'd be more appropriate for him to meet with select.
With a select board rather than
right,
this committee.
okay.
So he's on the agenda, but it may be a joint, or he may go just select board first. We're, wait and see.
Or both, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to be honest, kind of know if I should add him to the agenda and not know, or, but
I would put him in tentatively.
okay,
And I'll let you know what shakes out.
okay, yeah, let me know, that's fine, I just, I don't want to, make him feel like he wasn't heard either, so.
When's the next select board meeting? Is it-
What's that?
When's the next select board meeting?
Well, the next practical one will be the 21st, because the 7th will just be a very short one in front of the annual town meeting.
Oh,
Right, okay.
So we had our goal to have a joint meeting with the select board on the 21st. I have an idea, and I'd like everyone's opinion on this. Our charge was to prioritize town land. Would it be reasonable to go to the select board with a recommendation for town land and then say based on, if the select board tells us to, then, we've started an analysis of privately owned land. I'm just wondering if, we could get to this point by the 21st, or we could have the highway department and the town hall, that's what we're looking at, pretty well analyzed. We're still a little ways away from having all these privately owned lands pretty well analyzed.
That could change with Labrie though, too.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, what do you think he came here for?
Oh, no, he told me, he said he wants to discuss the property that his brother owns, and, I don't know what he said when he was up here, but I don't think there's any question of what he came for, right? He wants to talk about utilizing that
He wanted a
property.
presentation to us, not necessarily back and forth. I think that's the way he expressed it.
Oh, okay.
That was a one sentence. Well, I shouldn't say.
It's fine, no, okay, so, I guess for us, regardless of, let's leave that out of the equation for right now. What I was looking at is if we were targeting meeting with the select board 1 month from now, with what, we want to be able to present something reasonable. Do we want, I think what we'd be ready to present at that point would be an analysis of town properties.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, it would be an analysis of the highway department and the town hall properties that we could present the, pros and cons associated with each one. If we want to do that for private as well, I personally think we need more time.
Yeah.
What does everyone else?
I agree.
That's absolutely true.
So,
So, yeah, if we did a joint meeting on the 21st with select board, if that's a possibility, that would seem pretty ideal to present that. And then if that was at the time that Labrie was speaking, that would also be appropriate, seems also as well.
I tend to think so, that way, we as a committee have looked at town land, and we've obviously, we know we've done a little bit of work narrowing down privately owned land, but I don't think we're ready to present that. So if Mr. Labrie brings something to the select board and they want to take a look at that versus the town-owned land that we're presenting, seems like it might all come together and they can weigh those options
Sounds great to
So-
me.
and then tell us what to do next, kind of,
So we're going to pursue a meeting with select board on the 21st?
I think so, and so I think what we'll want to do before then is try to focus our efforts on putting something together on the highway department and the transfer station, not the transfer station, town hall and the fire station.
Excuse me, I got a 6 o'clock.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I think included in that presentation is why we have eliminated the other.
Yes.
A quick presentation on the school and the transfer station. We looked at them, and these are the reasons we eliminated. These are our findings on the other appropriate town properties.
Right, I agree. So we have a meeting on the 6th and then tentatively on the 20th, whether or not we want to meet that day, if we're also meeting on the 21st. It's a Monday and a Tuesday. But I'm just trying to think, how do we want to, Mark, I know you said you were going to spend a little time potentially putting a square on a lot. Is that something you could do for these two properties and kind of as a...
For this property and absolutely.
And the
Yeah.
highway department.
Yes.
That was-
Yep, the highway department,
We
and...
have 50 sketches of this site.
Right, I know. But I think that showing how we could, like Cindy had said, if that existing fire station is eliminated, use that flatter area would be.
Move it forward.
And obviously, this isn't a whole feasibility analysis,
Right.
literally, a square with driveway or whatever.
So the select board meeting is probably the 21st.
It is, yeah,
is.
that
Okay,
Tuesday.
So would we propose that our meeting would be with them on the 21st?
That's what I was thinking. So we'll meet
Yeah.
on the 6th.
Yep,
And then I don't really think we need to meet 2 days in a row unless,
yeah. No, plus it's a holiday on Juneteenth.
oh, I forgot about that. You're right, so we probably wouldn't meet on the 20th regardless, so that actually kind of,
Yeah. So
works out.
21st could work out.
okay, so we will meet on the 6th, same time, same place, and talk more. Hopefully, the other members of our group will be here, and we'll catch them up kind of on what we're thinking. And I'll reach out to Rini and just to let her know that, we're on target for meeting with the select board on the 21st, but that it will be a presentation of town-owned properties at that point for consideration.
Mark, what I don't understand is maybe you are able to do this. I want to tell you I'm not an engineer, in case you didn't figure that out, but if you go to the highway department lot, as some of the things that were not clear to me was, and you can look on the maps too, there's, sort of a skinniness to the beginning part of the lot, but then it opens up in the back. There's the salt barn, there's these other things. So those are the kinds of things you can talk more intelligently about, of the challenges of building on there.
I'm totally ignorant
Oh.
on the site. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've done
Can
it.
you go there? I mean, is that your
Yeah, I
thought?
will go there
Okay.
and take a quick walk around and
Yeah,
sort of orient myself, and then use Google and whatever else we have to sort
Sure.
of put a base map together.
okay. So the other question that I have in terms of all of this, related specifically to that, is, we're talking about, do we have to relocate the highway department? Or could it, there's a number of acres there. Could in fact all three departments be there, the police department, the fire department, and the highway department? And what would be involved in those? Those are the questions that are in my head.
Right.
We should
I
probably
think that's
talk
the big
to-
question is, can we do joint?
Exactly. We could get Randall in here and see what his thoughts are. Randall
Yeah,
Kemp,
I wonder if we could ask Randall if he could sit in next on the 6th.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Yeah,
That way
he's
we're
been
not-
in town a long time, and he.
That way we're not presenting to the select board something about moving him without,
I think if they can coexist, I mean, without moving
That's-
the highway department, that's great. It eliminates a lot of problems that we have with other properties.
Mhm.
But if we have to get the highway department moved somewhere else, I think
It's
it's
not
gonna
gonna
just
work.
raise
That's
the
another
cost of this whole project to the point where the town is not gonna vote for it.
Right.
yeah, I agree. You know,
Exactly.
one thing about this property here, the existing fire station, is that existing fire station probably has to be demolished regardless of whether or not we build a new one there, right? It's not gonna sit there.
They could use
It can be
water
repurposed.
department.
To be repurposed for what? Water
Well,
department?
Any number of things that
Okay.
can be repurposed.
Okay, there'll still be some costs
Wouldn't be water
associated with
department,
that.
highway department, I mean.
And that'd be,
I don't know.
that'd be
Also,
having
highway
the
department,
fees.
highway department.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know water
The department's gonna
department.
be moved there?
Yeah.
What are you saying about water department?
I know that.
They
there
just
was
put a
some
new
talk
bit-
Prior.
Didn't they go into a new building in recent years? Their
They may.
building is brand new, I've been there a few times in the last few months. It's like
Is
a,
it just office there, or do they actually have a garage? I
sorry,
think they park it.
I'm sorry.
behind their big truck.
okay,
I
yeah,
mean, but I don't know.
A lot of
Could they-
offices,
I mean,
yeah.
this is tight, so they may not fit in or more,
yeah.
so I don't know.
Don't they like being over there in peak like that?
Maybe they do,
Yeah.
I couldn't answer either.
Hmm.
Would it be appropriate from committee perspective, for me to go to the highway department and walk around and talk to the people there to figure out what's there. I don't want to violate our committee meeting regulations.
Good point.
My opinion, personal opinion, is that gathering information is fine.
Okay.
I don't think you should have any discussions
I'll discuss
about
what we are.
where this, you can say things that we have, I don't think it should be like, oh, we could put this here and this here,
No,
and
right.
I wouldn't go that far, but I think if you want to go there and ask,
For analysis,
like,
yeah.
gather information, everybody else agree, I mean,
I like the idea of going there. You go there, talk, look, and all that, but invite Randall, so it's an open meeting. And,
Yes.
and then he can, be part of the open meeting.
what I will do
in
is,
case others- That would be my thought in order
Yeah,
to.
I'll go orient myself first, so when Randall comes, we can have a
yeah,
fruitful conversation.
Yeah,
so that'll be on June 6th, I will reach out and see if he's available.
okay, great.
Okay, I know we're starting to get just past 6. The other couple things on the agenda we kind of covered anyway. We had the target dates, we've talked about our plan for that, schedule our next meeting, the 6th. Anything else anyone wanted to cover today?
I just wanted to real quickly, I found on the pages, or started looking through the deeds.
Okay,
I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a surveyor. I saw a couple of, items in there which I noted, but I'm not gonna say that I'm qualified to say, oh, that's a red flag, or, oh, that's nothing. So I will look through and point some things out, but I think at some point in time, as we get serious more about these things, if we want to pursue any of the parcels, that the deeds need to be looked at. That's what we found out, that it was a
Right.
little,
Good point.
And that's not for the town, that's just the president, just the
Yes,
private property.
right.
Okay. So
actually, I looked at the deed for the highway department, I couldn't find it. I found a deed here, easy. Found a deed for all the privates, and the deed for all the other town-owned parcels. The deed for the highway department, I could not find, but I'll look some more. I just
Okay.
want to save the,
yeah,
little
no,
comment there for deed restrictions, and I'm not overly qualified to make a final statement, so the town investor works on that.
yeah, no, understood. And I think anything we're putting in here right now is kind of just our best information we had. We're not going to be able to move forward on anything without the qualified person, or whoever that
And we're
is.
just moving forward on the town owned anyway.
Right at this point, yeah. Okay.
Hopefully
Thank you.
we made more progress than we did 10 years ago.
So I move to adjourn.
Yes, anyone else have anything else before we wrap up? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Yeah.
All right, thank you,
All
everyone.
right, thank you.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.